Hey everybody, happy 4th of July. Today we're going to be looking at the Ford, one of those old Ford starter solenoids. This guy right down there. You know, I've always wondered about these things because they're the cause of a lot of mysterious engine problems. Make you think that things aren't going right, and they tend to fail rather quickly. I think it's one of the more common problems that you get here, and it's really like a $10 part, $20 part maybe, so it's really easy to swap out. But I want to know what's inside, and today we're going to find out with this old one. Alright, so this is the old one that was on my F250 here. I've taken the liberty of drilling out the rivets. They're just rivets that go through the bottom and they sit on top like that. So drill them out and you can see it's already under some spring tension. They'll pop off as soon as you get them off. So here's just the cap. We just have this gasket to make sure things stay dry in there, right? This is the engine bay. And then we have this, very interesting. So, if you recall, we have a battery on one side, and then this runs to the starter motor to start your engine. And we're going to just take a look inside. From what it looks like right now, and actually all this is just a giant electric solenoid. So when you apply current, there's going to probably be a coil down in here that we'll get to in a second. I'll probably have to drill this one out, just rivet. But once we get down there, what we're going to do is we apply voltage through, I believe it's these two terminals with your ignition, or through one of them to ground, right? And we're creating a magnetic field down, I believe, in here. And what that does is it sucks down this plunger. Now, if we look inside, it might be helpful if I can take this out. So we might have to trim this little tab here. Let's see. Oh no, we can just pull it out. Very nice. So we can see in here. Ooh, this is a gross one. These are our contacts, right? So this is where battery comes in. It'll contact on this copper ring and then out the other side to the starter motor. So what's happening in here is we have this big iron core or steel or whatever it is, I don't know, but it's magnetic, right? So we are down in here in this plastic bit creating a magnetic field. Let's see if we can shove it back in. Yep, I took the spring out so it's not going to spring back at us, but what happens is we're floating above. See, no contact there between this copper ring and this copper contact. Same on this side. And when we apply voltage, we go shoop, and the copper ring here makes contact with both of those contacts there, and we allow electricity to go through to your starter motor. So we can also see down in there a little wire just about there. And what that is, and let me see if I can zoom in here too. There we go. We can see the windings down in there, right about there. And that is the beginning of our solenoid winding. That's what we run the current through, and that's what creates the magnetic field. So, how are we going to get further down in there? Let's think about it. Alright, what I've decided is that we are going to take off this nut, and that should allow us to take out our inner contacts, this guy and this guy. And then from there, I think the core will just kind of slide out, except for this wire right there, because it's connected to this terminal right there. So let me go take those off, and we'll be right back. Alright, I only got the one off right now, but we can see right here, this is our little contact in there. That's the ring kind of shape where it's been contacting this ring, just like that. And I suspect that if you wanted to rebuild this somehow, you could, because it's just a couple contacts. This screw just goes in through the side here. Get my hand out the way. Goes in through the side. Okay. And it's kind of recessed in there so it won't twist when you put the nut back on and the washer. This is, I believe, just a solid copper, or maybe a copper plated thing, I don't know. But it's just copper. It's just conducting electricity from properties of the screw. So let me get out the other one, and we'll dig down deeper. All right, we did get out the other side, but you can see there's a little bit extra stuff on there. The housing was so old, and that bolt was on there so tight that when I tried to crank it off, the whole housing just broke. It's just like a plastic kind of housing. We'll get rid of that, and that's about it in there. Let's see if something comes out when I tip it over. Probably not. Oh, I can see it moving. Take this out. It's just a little barrier. Oh boy. We got like a little plasticky another kind of gasket, I suppose. Or what? I don't know. We've got this metal ring. I believe that was retaining it in there. Could be mistaken about that. Kind of just fell out. And then we can see that our wire here is already snapped off from the terminal, so I think we can just pull it out. But where's the other side? Let's try to use our pliers. Aha! It was just stuck in there. Alright, so here's our core. There was a second terminal that was connected down to the bottom. I imagine that was to ground, right? So on the old cars, a lot of the electronics were grounded through the chassis of the car. So we had this guy connected to this post, and then it would run electricity down through our coil, out the bottom, probably through this chassis out, and then to the ground, which was our body chassis. This guy is kind of really annoying because he's hanging around here, so I'm going to see if I can rip him off. I don't need him. There we go. Just crush the little tab, and we've got our little core. So, again, we run voltage through here. That creates a magnetic field. It attracts the steel/iron core. And we go, shunk. That's that click you hear when you go to start your engine. If you can hear it before the starter happens, it goes, clicks in like that, and it was making contact with our little screws here. So, just to demonstrate, the interior was going like this. These were sitting about here, and then when we applied voltage, it slams down, and now we have contact between this copper ring and this copper screw. So that is about it, I would suspect. We do have another metal piece in there. I think that is just the housing of our coil. Let's see if we can get in there. Oh, these are gonna be too big. Well, there's nothing else in there. Oh, here we go. Housing thing, and then yep, that would be our ground. So the other end of this copper was attached down to in here somewhere, and you can see that we've got a rivet going through, which is going to ground this metal piece to this metal frame, and this metal frame was on the truck. Now this one's obviously really rusty and pitted and gross and would not have made good contact, so that's part of the reason why it didn't work very well. But now you know what's inside one of these. It's pretty simple, and I think actually we can pretty easily put it back together, aside from the broken bits. We'll drop in this guy, and we'll drop in this, and we gotta align the little tab. Oh, there we go. And it's not gonna sit in there flat because we got wires sticking out everywhere. But should be pretty easy. And then we would have our put the spring on this guy. What else we're missing? I think that's it. So we go in there, and then if we wanted to, we could put the screws back in the side. So that's really it. That's the whole thing. We'll put the screw in there just for show. Got our spring and our core. Now we're back. Right? So we can make electrical contacts again. Anyways, that is what's inside. So, next time your Ford's giving you some starting troubles, be sure to check that little solenoid. It's on the passenger side by the battery. And one final note, if you do replace it, make sure it's a really high amperage solenoid or relay, whatever you're going to replace it with, because the motor that starts your engine is a really high current motor. So if you don't have something that's strong enough, it's going to burn out immediately. And these things, I think, they only have a 10-second on time, and then you got to wait for some amount of seconds for it to cool off. That's why they burn out so much, because people sit there and they try to start their engine for a very long time, which heats up the coil, and then everything burns out. And that's why you got to replace them. But now you know what's inside. We're just over there at the bench. So hope you enjoyed. Yeah.